Hi and welcome to this Key Learning Initiative video. Today's topic, we're dealing with measures of dispersion or spread, and we're working specifically with the 5-number summary and box and whisker plots. So that's quite a mouthful, but that's what we're looking at today. If you haven't already done, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see more and more of my content. Otherwise, just like and share this video so that more and more people can see it. But let's get going with what we're doing today. Our 5-number summary, and that's where we start. Now, our 5-number summary is made up of the following, or includes the following. Our minimum, which is the lowest, we sometimes call it the min, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and the maximum or the highest, and sometimes we refer to it as the max. Okay, so 5 different numbers: the minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and then the maximum. That is what is in your 5-number summary. Now, we're going to do 2 examples of the box and whisker plot. We're going to be using the examples from this video, measures of dispersion, range and quartiles. And so if you want to see how I calculate the different things, you'd have to go and look at that video. So that's where we get our numbers from for our examples. I will leave a link to the video in my comments. But let's get going. Example 1. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and 7. And what we have to do is we have to start off with the 5-number summary. So, our minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and our maximum. Well, the 1 is easiest to see. Your minimum is 1, and we can write it down. Our maximum is 7, and we can write it down as well. Now, for quartile 1, 2, and 3, we get those values of 3, 5, and 6 from the example in the video that I chatted about earlier. So quartile 1 is 3, quartile 2 or the median is 5, and quartile 3 is 6. And we're going to use those values from the 5-number summary to draw our box and whisker plot. Let's see how we do that. For our example 1, we've got our minimum of 1, our quartile 1 of 3, quartile 2 of 5, quartile 3 of 6, and your maximum of 7. Now when we start off drawing our box and whisker plot, we start off with a number line. Now my minimum is 1 and my maximum is 7, and so that's the minimum and maximum that my number line has to incorporate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start my number line at 0 and finish at 8, and then put in all the numbers between. So my number line goes from 0 to 8. Now I'm going to draw my plot. My minimum is 1, and so what I do is I draw a line, a vertical line, just above 1 on my number line. Now I take my max of 7, and again I draw a vertical line just above my 7. Notice that the lines are parallel to each other. Then I look at quartile 1, and that's 3, and so I draw a vertical line just above the 3. Quartile 2 is 5, and I draw a vertical line just above the 5. And lastly, quartile 3 is 6, and I draw a vertical line above the 6. And so what I've done is my minimum, quartile 1, 2, and 3, and my maximum, I have vertical lines above my number line. Now we have to join them in a special way. So between my minimum of 1 and quartile 1 of 3, between the first two on the left hand side, I draw a solid line from the middle to the middle. Now, from quartile 1 to quartile 3, I draw a line on the top and the bottom of the vertical lines. Lastly, between quartile 3 and my maximum, I draw a line in the middle. So let's have a look. Can you see in the middle I've got a box there, and it's got quartile 1 and quartile 2 and quartile 3, and then on the edges I've got my whiskers of my minimum of 1 and my maximum of 7, hence a box and whisker plot. Now we have to label our box and whisker plot. So we have to label our minimum, we have to label quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and our maximum. Minimum, quartile 1, 2, 3, and our maximum. Let's look at another example. Example 2, and we're going to start off again with a 5-number summary. The example, the data that we're going to use is 1, 3, 4, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8. Our 5-number summary. Minimum, quartile 1, 2, and 3, and our maximum. Again, the minimum and maximum are easy to see. My minimum is 1. My maximum is 8. Again, for quartile 1, 2, and 3, how we calculate is in the other video that we talked about. Okay, so quartile 1 is 3,5, quartile 2 is 5, and quartile 3 is 6,5. Now let's use these numbers to draw our box and whisker plot again. So, minimum, quartile 1, 2, and 3, and my maximum. We start off with drawing a number line. Again, my minimum is 1, my maximum is 8, and I'm going to start my number line at 0 and finish at 8. That's going to be able to accommodate my plot. Fill in the numbers between. Excellent. Now, my minimum of 1. I take my minimum of 1, and above 1 on my number line, I draw a vertical line. My maximum of 8, I draw a vertical line above the 8. Then, quartile 1 is 3.5, and so between 3 and 4, 3.5, I draw a vertical line. Next, quartile 2, or the median, is 5, and so I draw a vertical line above 5. And lastly, quartile 3 is 6.5, and so I draw a vertical line at 6.5 between 6 and 7. Now we have to join these lines the same way that we did in example 1. So between my minimum and quartile 1, between 1 and 3,5, I join them with a line from the middle to the middle. Now, from quartile 1 to quartile 3, I join them with lines 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, like that. Lastly, from quartile 3 to the maximum, again I go from the middle to the middle, and hence I have my box and my whisker plot. Let's label a few things. My minimum of 1, my quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and my maximum. Now, unlike example number 1, where we'd now be finished, there's 2 things that we just have to do quickly. Let's look at quartile 1. Quartile 1 is 3.5. Now we don't have an exact label for the 3.5 on our number line. We have 3 or 4. And so because of that, we have to give it an exact label. To do this, we put a little dotted line and then 3,5, because that's my value. if we look at quartile 3, the same thing applies. It's between 6 and 7, and 6,5 is not labeled on our number line, and so what we have to do is make a label for it, a little dotted line and then 6,5. Now we don't have to do that for the minimum, quartile 2, or the median, or the maximum, because they fall on the labels on the number line. Also, when I'm drawing these in the video, I use lots of different colors to make it look good. When you're doing it in a test or wherever, you don't have to use different colors. Just use a pen or a pencil. Okay. Well, thank you for watching this Key Learning Initiative video on measures of dispersion or spread, when we're talking about a 5-number summary and box and whisker plots. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please guys, your comments are always welcome in the comment section, and I will reply as soon as I can. Please also remember to like and to share the video so that more and more people can watch this content. I hope it has been very helpful.